Today we're talking about scars, the physical and the emotional,
Yeah,
mental, spiritual,
both,
all of the above.
all of the above. Maybe start with physical. Those ones are,
Easier to grasp.
I don't know, maybe.
Mm. Yeah. What comes up for you when you think of scars?
I think there's an element of like memory or reminder that you fought something.
Hmm.
Like I'm thinking very sporty like, like kind of I have a scar on my knee because I had a knee injury. Um, it's a bit different when you have, I can't remember, 14 staples in your groin or something like this. I don't know. Um, but there's the memory element to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a constant reminder and memory that we had cancer, you had cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I think there's a very physical side to the scar where, at least in my case, I'm very numb in that area.
Mm.
So, like, they had to.
Oh, sorry.
Bless you.
Thanks.
They had to cut through a lot of nerves. So it's just a very numb area, which is, those are the two things that pop up, like the memory element of the physical scar and the numbness of the area.
Mm. Interesting.
What about you? You've got a lot of them.
Yes, I had laparoscopic surgery, so I have multiple mini scars. Um, I didn't look at it as a fight.
Hmm.
That didn't come up for me. I do. I've never looked at it like this before, but now that we're talking about it, they feel like little grief points,
Hmm.
which goes along with the memory. And I think the prevalent memory right now that's coming up for me is this feeling of, well, kind of two thoughts. One, of either my body failing me or me failing my body. I looked at it kind of from both sides. And also feeling slighted by the universe or by God. And I think that second part, I don't feel it so much right now. I did before,
Mm-hmm.
during the experience, but right now, yeah, it feels a little bit more like mourning the loss of part of my kidney, and yeah, just those feelings of distrust.
Hmm.
With my body, with life.
Hmm. Yeah. It's interesting how the physical is also mental, right? Like it's a physical scar, but it's in a way representing the mental scar too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And it represents a mental scar, as well as, I think, a belief that I already had before the cancer came. It just sort of illuminated it and broke it open. At least that's what I believe. I don't think any of the distrust that came with the cancer, I think, was already there in my subconscious. It just kind of got ripped open and brought to the surface with the cancer.
Mm.
Like, I became acutely aware of it.
Mm. Yeah. I think maybe I don't have the same ability to recognize if that's the case or not. But for sure, there's a lot of distrust after. And I think there are many moments I can remember, even after going into remission, where it's like, oh my God, it's back. You know? And they were maybe not so much related to the physical scar, but more to the mental scar.
Yeah.
And that gaining that trust back just takes time.
Yeah. Time, as well as, at least for me, I feel like it was time mixed with facing it, confronting it, and confronting it until I could confront it in a gentle and compassionate way. And then it began to soften. I'm thinking of the fascia, like the scar tissue.
Scar tissue. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Oh, interesting. The softening of that, almost representing the softening of how I looked at my experience.
Yeah. And you know, in a weird way, and again, maybe it's the athletic way at looking at it, but every scar is also a story to tell.
I love that.
You do like sports after all. Sorry.
I mean, when they lead to this raw vulnerability, yeah.
It's a good one. But I think, you know, the one thing we did, and maybe a last thought here from my side, I think at some point during my journey, you talked quite a bit about like going back to the scar, like connect with it, kind of like recognize that it's there for a reason. Like,
and I think, give a little bit of detail. What do you mean by connecting with the scar?
oh my God. Like, I think just, yeah, trying to find a quiet moment and maybe even put your hand above it and just try to feel into it and recognize that it's there and it was part of the healing. And again, I think this could be the physical scar or the mental scar. And just acknowledge that it did its part.
Yeah.
It's not easy, by the way.
Yeah. And I don't know if we want to talk about it right now or in a subsequent episode, but I feel like my wound, like where it feels like my kidney, like specifically the spot in my kidney that was removed, it's still, I feel like it talks to me through pain and discomfort sometimes still. A year later, and it's not, it talks to me through physical sensations, like I feel it physically, but I know it's not because necessarily something physical is going on. I found very much a relationship between that and certain thoughts and patterns in my life. Maybe we can dive into that in another episode. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
It goes beyond the scars too.
Yeah, it goes beyond the scars. All right. I'm going to sign off here.